Joining us now, she is the new head coach at Long Beach State after obviously an assistant at San Diego State. Great success there, great success prior to that at Indiana, and of course a standout player in her own right, Kendall Fearn. I remember last time we had her on, I'm like joked with her like, "Hey, next time you're going to come on, you got to be a head coach." Well, here she is now, head coach Kendall Fearn, joining us here on In the Circle on D1 Softball. How's it going?
It's great. Out here on the West Coast, things are good. June gloom is heading out, and it's a great time to be stepping into this new role and at Long Beach State and being a head coach. I'm just so excited about, pushing forward in this new space for my career. I'm very proud of myself for going for it and doing it, and really thankful to have the support behind me, as I navigate this new role. But it feels really good, and I'm excited to be back here with you, Eric, and obviously respect all the wonderful things that you do for our sport and the coverage that you provide. So thank you so much for having me on to talk about, Long Beach softball.
I appreciate you coming on. I know it's a hectic time right now as you got recruiting season and you're building your staff, but let's just talk about it. I don't think it's a surprise. I'm not surprised you ended up being a head coach. I figured it was only a matter of time. Uh, my question is, what was it about Long Beach State that you felt like this was the right time for you and the right time to be the head coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's a couple things for me, making values-based decisions like, it's the location, it's close to home, close to Carlsbad where my family is, and the people at Long Beach State between the administration, athletic director Bobby Smitherin, and the sport administrator Katie Bird, and the deputy AD Gladys. There's just so much alignment and connection through this process that really made it, a slam dunk in terms of making that decision to go for it. And then also being able to be in Southern California and recruit and compete in the Big West Conference. Being in a conference without football is a different vibe, and I'm here for it. Like the Big West Conference has so many wonderful universities and some of the most beautiful cities in California. So the travel is going to be really great. And I feel like professionally, this is a place where I can match up my personal goals and my professional goals and be in a place where I can compete to win a conference and get in the NCAA tournament. And then the last thing is the tradition. I mean, this is a program that, was at 5 College World Series, 10 Big West championships and 26 NCAA appearances. So there's a story to tell. And there's a lot of really amazing alumni, that have gone on to do big things in their own programs. So this is a special place, and it's a place where other Olympic sport coaches are winning on campus, and they've had really long, great careers there. So I'm inspired to do the same things and get to work alongside some amazing other head coaches in their programs.
Describe being on campus at Long Beach.
Yeah, it's a big school. I mean, it's nestled right there, close to the beach. It has that SoCal vibe, where students are on scooters and skateboards, and there's palm trees, and just like it's a beautiful place. So, and they've got the historic pyramid, where basketball and volleyball, both men's and women's, like are very successful programs, and so. And then you've got baseball and the dirt bags and a really strong women's soccer programming, go on and on, water polo, tennis, and track and field. Like it's, athletics is celebrated there, and it's all right there in an intimate corner of campus. And then but really, it's just a beautiful place, and I think it's going to be fun to have that first recruit on campus and show them around. Even though it'll be my first time, it'll be memorable, and I'm ready to showcase what the campus has to offer, and just the community around it is a huge selling point.
Big West is an exciting league. It's unpredictable week to week. And I know I've talked to coaches within the Big West, and one of the things there's big things they like is with everything that's gone on in college athletics, they feel like they're the West Coast schools to have a student athlete go there.
Yeah.
Is that part of the attraction you had as well?
Oh, totally. I mean, it's, similar to San Diego State. Like, that was a huge part of the success is being able to say, hey, we're a West Coast conference. Like, you're gonna have your head on your pillow at night, after a series, at a reasonable hour on a Sunday. And, the travel's not gonna be brutal, and you're gonna get to play in front of your family and be in warm weather, and get to represent something really special. And so for me, I love it from that standpoint because again, it matches like what I'm looking for, when I'm trying to marry my personal and professional life. But also I think for the student athletes, like getting those great softball players to stay home and in Southern California, or just, I mean, even Northern California, ton of great talent up and down the state. So, and then you bring in the transfer portal and, I'll recruit them hard in high school and sure, maybe they want to go play in, one of the P4 conferences, but then maybe it's, hey, I want to get back close to home. And I think that I know that there's a strong, competitive recruiting advantage to being in this location because they can come on home and be in front of their families and really make some noise in the Big West Conference and be a part of a winning program with, a tradition of success. So yeah, West Coast is, I mean, there's a lot of pride in this area and, it's like that Long Beach versus everyone mentality. So
What did you learn from Stacy Newman, being on the staff the last 3 seasons that you're going to apply now as a head coach?
yeah, I'm so grateful for being able to work for her and she's an amazing leader. She allows her assistants to be their authentic selves and to, has that there's enough sunshine for everyone to shine kind of mentality. She's very confident in who she is. And so she allows, like I said, her assistants to coach and to have a voice and have, thoughts and perspectives about the program and is willing to collaborate and but really like I'm so proud. I was always so proud on game day to be coaching alongside her. Loved her approach, loved the way that she thinks about the game in a big picture with enhancing, from a pitching side and really being strategic with matchups and using data. And then, also from the offensive side, the opportunity to go in and coach third base for the first time was really a treat. I loved that connection, with the athletes and making things happen and seeing the game from a different perspective. So that was really cool to, have an influence on being aggressive and just the offensive strategy. So I'm really thankful for all of those opportunities that she gave me to really help me grow and elevate my game and, really leave an impact on the athletes that we got to recruit and coach. But she's a phenomenal human, just gave me a really great perspective on balance and always challenged me to like, hey, I know we can like work really hard at this, or we could also be efficient and like, and get to do the things that we want to do with our families and, not really stretch ourselves so thin, but really like have that concentrated effort to be efficient, but still productive and effective with our training and with recruiting and just, staff meetings and things like that. So just an amazing boss and so glad that she's in my corner and we talk we want to schedule each other regularly and I would love to take continue to take Long Beach State down to the Mesa and then have them come up to the beach. So it's a
Ooh,
great partnership that I'll definitely carry with me forever. So she's a great person and what she's doing with the Bandits now is awesome and I got to be a part of the draft, which was a really cool experience. So I was on the board, writing in the picks and making sure we had like, okay, we got some lefties, we got some righties, we got some power, speed, and writing on the depth chart, helping her and Jenny as it was going in motion and just keeping it organized for them as, they really selected a special team and to be a part of that was cool and a great honor because I really love, roster selection and recruiting is a big passion. So yeah, all the things she gave me many great opportunities and winning at San Diego State with her it was great winning rings and championships, but the person that is and how she allowed me to grow and flourish and be near my family and have a competitive program to be a part of was one of the highlights of my career so far.
big praise there. And I'll tell you what, between you and you got Victoria there, that's a nice trifecta there, like going on there. Between her,
Yeah.
Victoria obviously playing her last year and then, continuing as a head coach. You're now a head coach. It's a lot of competition there.
It's a great place. And again, I think it goes from her security and who she is, and she's not afraid to hire, coaches who can come in and make an impact and just elevate everybody. And what her and her staff were able to do at Nevada in year one was incredible. And the culture that they built and the competitiveness that they showed was just awesome. They were a really tough team. And I know that she'll continue and her staff will continue to do great things along with San Diego State. It's that program is in a really great place right now, and there's going to be another great coach who's going to step in and do big things. So.
Of course, you take over for Kim Souter, a legend there who retired. What's that like? I don't know if you've had any interaction with her, but obviously, what she's built there. And you mentioned the tradition earlier of Long Beach. I mean, that's incredible. And I know one of the responsibilities is you'll be helping hosting tournaments there. That's very well known. That always gets to become one of the best tournaments of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I did get to talk with Kim on earlier in the week and just just talk about the program, talk about she let me into her plans for for right now. I mean, with retirement, and she's excited about it. She's playing a lot of tennis, which is cool, and we had a great relationship out recruiting, and I really respect who she is as a person and her staff and what Panita and Kevin, they poured into this program and they left a foundation that's really positive and the success that she had and they had is, I mean, they were always a tough team and playing for championships in the Big West and playing in postseason. And so, being able to now partner with her and really prioritize keeping her engaged in the program. And, she played here and she's really connected with her teammates. They get together every year. And there's just a lot of the alumni is woven into the history of this program in a special way. And I think a lot of that is because she was here and had such a great career. So I'm looking forward to, with becoming a first-time head coach and I'm really grateful that she's open to, having that relationship and I just want to keep it going and I'm really proud to be able to, have my name amongst that list with the former head coaches here at Long Beach.
Pretty good list there. How do you envision your style that you want to implement to your teams?
Yeah, the style is, first it's about having a culture that the student athletes and staff and even extended staff, the support staff is proud of. And so I'm going to spend time caring about that and talking about it and growing it. And all of the whole coaching staff is, going to be getting in front of the team and always keeping culture at the forefront. But really, the style is going to be brought to this program with intentional recruiting. That's been something that, I believe that that's the best way to having a great culture and also on field, success. So recruiting great athletes who are going to make impact on both sides of the ball and offensively having great player development to using data to understand where the baselines are, how movement is, working within each athlete to be able to best coach them and coach around things. And then have a process and a plan of how we're going to grow each individual and be able to teach things like adjustability and plans and approaches and just equip them with the confidence that they need to be able to be successful on game day. And then I have a vision of building analytical infrastructure at Long Beach State to where we're using ball data to help coach and teach and scout and prepare and recruit. And so that's something that, administration is on board with, and the staff that I hire will also be passionate about that. So I just think that, data is a big part of it. And so on the pitching side of things, we'll be using that as well to develop pitching and pitches, and then also, with recruiting and, matchups and things like that. So bringing that pitch by committee mentality to the circle, which was something that was so successful at San Diego State, and that Nuvi really opened my eyes up to, and I'm all in on that. So
I bet I can see
that's
it. I
that's the
can hear.
style. Yeah.
That's a good style. I'm curious how much of what Stacy ran over there, whether it be offensively or even pitching philosophy, because obviously she took over running the pitching staff there. Do you apply to your style? How much of Shonda Stanton, for those that may not be aware, you also were assistant under Sean at Indiana, who they love to steal, be aggressive on the base pads. But then also, how much of it is your philosophy when it comes to whether it be the offensive side or the pitching side?
Yeah, it's honestly it's going to be a true blend. I feel like being as an assistant, and there's so many other assistant coaches out there that I know can relate to this because I've had conversations with them, but like that's the cool thing is that we get to pull from all of our experiences and what we like and what I align to is there's things from both head coaches. And so with being with Shonda for 10 years, the recruiting side of things and understanding what numbers and what type of athlete, equates to what type of, outcomes, right? And just being able to really refine my recruiting and the decision-making process through building a roster of, okay, what is speed? Okay, top end speed, Morgan Circle, right? Like being able to have numbers like her and understand what that translates to at the Division I level. I feel like Shonda really gave me a great perspective on running like she was a great leader and has been a head coach for a long time. So I really feel like I just have this amazing opportunity, at a young age to be trained by her and mentored by her and really like grew me in all areas of even the off the field stuff, but on the field, like just the aggressiveness and going for it and how to have, different progressions and how to teach and use film to, grow and develop athletes. And then with Nuvi, the strategy and the efficiency, and how to, understand using data, like how we can coach and have a competitive edge on game day. And then, just this freeness and looseness that starts from the top down in the environment of allowing athletes to, bring their athletic abilities and not overcoach, but
Yeah,
allow them to really shine in ways that are organic and, yeah, she just has this like great vibe of being able to allow the athletes to be comfortable in the space
yeah.
and to like not let the moment be too big. I mean, what San Diego State did over the years, they didn't care these athletes didn't care who's in the other dugout. They just had this like grit and fight, and I think that a lot of that starts with the looseness of her and the ability of just the players to go play. And so I like that a lot. But both of them, just great people, great examples of how to treat athletes well and fair and honest and but also real and push them. So I mean, they've been incredible mentors to me, and I plan on bringing, it's like just a blend of the different things. They really balance out each other nice, the different styles. So, and then Nuvi was very aggressive as well. So there's commonalities and then also like some really unique differences that I got to experience as an assistant coach that I'll take with me. So,
Both of them, though, common let you coach, right? I think
mhm.
you correct me if I'm wrong. Like, in talking to Sean over the years, she wants input from you. You have
Mhm.
input in recruiting, you have input in the game planning. And Stacy was the same way. I remember when I had Victoria here a year ago, right around the same, when she got it, and she said the biggest thing she appreciated about Coach Newby was she let her coach and
Yeah.
coach to run the offense. Is that all accurate, and is that why you felt confident and that I'm ready to be a head coach? Because in a lot of ways, these two coaches that I've worked for, my last two bosses, have kind of let me in on what it's like to be a head coach.
Yeah, totally, 100%. I mean, I'm fortunate. I learned early what I wanted, like what I wanted in a head coach to and who I wanted to work for. And so I picked them and thankfully they were down to have me join the staff. But Yes, they both let me grow and flourish and be a boss of the areas that I got to oversee. So I feel like I've been, I've been ready. It's just it's finding the right fit, like finding the school that I'm excited
Yeah.
to charge. And this was it. Like this was the job that I was ready to go after. And I think too, like you had asked like about what I'm going to bring. And I think, yes, a blend of them, but also who I am as a person. And I think having the coaches that I did and being able to play for Lonnie Alameda was, I mean, she changed my life at a young age in college. And so the perspectives that she gave me and the experience that I had as a player is really what got me into coaching because I was like, wow, like that impact that I feel and the growth and the perspectives that I learned, like I want to do that. I want to do that for the student athletes that I get to coach. And so, um, I want to bring who I am as a person and also like it's just going to be a cool experience to make the decisions like in game because being a fiercely loyal assistant, like I'm always thinking about what the head coach wants and like we're aligned. So like it's like a mutual decision. And so now I'm going to look to incorporate that collaboration with my staff. But like I get to like feel that and make those calls and rely, hey, talk to my assistant, be like, what do you think here? Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Let's go do it, and empower that process to
Yeah.
happen. So I want to bring what I had as an assistant that I love so much and what I loved it as a player and I want to bring that, for my players and my assistant coaches, so that it's just this great collaborative, positive environment and competitive and all the things. But I'm excited to see how I grow in this space and the type of leader that I can be for the people that I get to work with on a daily basis.
How would you describe your personality and bringing that as a head coach? Because you mentioned Lonnie's always the most like even keel, no matter what. Shauna's very passionate, as you know very well. She sometimes will let the umpires know how she feels. It's not very shy to share that. Stacy's very passionate, but in a different way. How do you feel your personality will be like as a head coach?
Um, I I'm at the heart center. So I'm a big relationship person. I think that shines through in recruiting, that's shined through in from a staff perspective. Big team player. I'm very approachable and passionate and hardworking and flexible and those things. But as far as like, my style, I'm competitive and all of that, but I think it's going to be, I'm going to be able to um, allow my personality to shine and rely on that. Like, I don't want to be somebody else. I just want to like be
Right.
me. And I feel that like that won't steer me wrong. I think that I don't know. I need to be able to be myself and trust my experiences and trust my mentors and support system when I need to lean on them and just go for it. But I feel confident in my past, career so far to help lead me, but really keep centered on what it's all about, and that's relationships. From everybody, from like bus driver to field crew to support staff to the community, like it just all matters. And I really love people and engaging with people, so I think that that's going to be a big part of it is solid relationships and leading to shared meaning and common goals with the mission.
Couple more things before I let you go. Obviously, you're going to work on your coaching staff. I'm curious. Is there an aspect of the game that you want to run? For example, you're regarded as one of the best defensive coaches. Is that something you want to do while you're as a head coach? Have you thought about that? Does that depend on who you end up hiring, and you're willing to adapt to that? Like, have you thought about that process as far as the all aspects of the game as a head coach?
Yeah, I want this experience for our staff to be collaborative and not siloed. I think that who it's part of it depends on, who comes in, right? But like what I'm focused most on is like the person. I want to bring in great people, right? Because I think that the softball stuff is going to take care of itself, but being aligned and being on the same page. So the conversations that I've been having with assistant coach candidates have just been laying out that philosophy of, I think in order to best develop our athletes, they have to be able to know that the staff is united and connected on their player development plan and what our approaches are going to be and what our standards are going to be, and just being able to have effective communication to make sure that there's consistency and clarity for the athletes, so that we can best develop them ultimately. So I'm flexible. Like I'm excited. I mean, most of my experience, I've always done hitting and defense, like for most of my career in some capacity, but I would say the majority of my career has been that collaborative, approach where like Sean and I tag teamed really well with offense and defense. And then at San Diego State, like primarily focusing on defense and in game day offensive strategy. But there was that collaboration that I liked, and I'm excited to get a little bit more into the offensive piece and get back into it. I do think that I've got some great things to offer there, but I want to hire assistants who can elevate us as a staff and also have strengths that maybe aren't like maybe are weaknesses for me, or maybe like I wanted to balance it all out. Like I want us to be different and complement each other, but really at the end of the day have that same philosophy that this is a united front, and we're all gonna get to be in front of the team, doing team meetings and having a voice in film sessions and being able to bring ideas and have them run with it. And I want to empower that. I think that's been a great part of my career, so that's going to be important with my staff.
What was the message to the players?
I got to do a Zoom call with them on Monday. So you know how that is on Zoom. It's like, hi everyone, and like I shared my vision. We talked about culture, we talked about player development, we talked about relationships and just what they can expect, from me this summer. And I'm going to be getting to know them more and reaching out and showing earning their trust. That's what it's all about. And so I think that I'm bringing an exciting, positive, new start and to continue, and also recognizing there's a lot of great things that we need to continue doing, right? So then I got to meet the team yesterday. We had lunch at the clubhouse, and that's the beauty of being in Southern California. Like most of the team, like 90% of the team was there, including four of the five freshmen. So in just 24 hours notice, there was athletes driving in from Bakersfield to, come together, and that was really cool. So we just chatted and, just getting their feedback and understanding what they're hoping for and looking for and what they want to continue doing, what they're really proud about with being a Long Beach State softball player. Like I want to continue the great things that are already here, and also look for ways to elevate it, right? And push them to achieve new heights. And so that's what they can expect is a place where we're going to get after it. We're going to have standards and relatable expectations, right? That is player driven, but also, held to a standard by the coaching staff. And we're going to have fun on the field, and we're going to be aggressive and get after what we want and what our goals are. And I expect to compete for championships. So, I've got some roster spots to fill, which I'm excited about because I love recruiting. So having some good dialogue around, transfer recruiting and the prospects that I'm looking to bring in. So I'm excited to keep building on the success that they've had and add in, my own style of things, but really keeping it at the center of those buckets of culture, player development, and relationships and recruiting. So that was the message to them, but it was exciting. Like it was really cool to be able to meet them so quickly and get to meet the majority of the team.
As you get to know them, how much will you watch tape of them playing? How much are you going to talk to them and get feedback on them? And because I've always been fascinated when new coaches take over and inherit a roster. Some like to know everything about them. Some don't want to know too much because they want to kind of have a their own thoughts with their own eyes with a clean slate. Where do you fall into that? Is that I know it's a balancing act there, but how much which one are you going to rely on more, maybe?
Yeah, I'm very much I chose this team. I'm committed to this team and I've been watching film, I think that that's a big part of this profession, and evaluations and just player development. Like I want to that's something that I'm going to continue to do. So, but also like jumping into it knowing that some of the the foundation of their softball careers so far at Long Beach, like that doesn't t dictate what can happen in the future. And some of them are coming off of injuries, some of them are coming off of, playing behind a really great senior class. So, it's about fresh starts and new opportunities. And I think it's like making the push and the challenge to them of like get after it this summer. Like you want to come earn a spot, like get after it and celebrate yourself and go do hard things and dive into it. And when they get back on campus in August, like we're gonna hit the ground and I'm excited to see what they can showcase on the field. But yeah, I think it's important in this game to, use all the access that we have to film. So that's been helpful to understand what our needs are and, from a transfer recruiting perspective.
You've got me. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get going here. You got me psyched. Listen, I know you're busy. You got a lot going on, so I do appreciate it a lot that you fit me in under your schedule. I was excited when the news came out, and I was like, I got to get her on right away. We'll definitely get you back on once you're more settled in and go more in detail, especially once you know your roster more inside out. But in the meantime, congratulations being the head coach. I know that's something you've wanted to do, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us here at In the Circle on D1 Softball.
Thank you so much, Eric. And I love listening to the coaches that you have on the podcast. It's thank you for providing this space for us to talk softball and appreciate all you're doing, to be a big part of our softball world and community. So thank you so much. And yeah, I look forward to being back on again at another time.